Talking to one of my friends, and she expressed that she was kind of nervous about dating. She was apprehensive that a lot of guys would be turned off that she had a child.
When you decide to commit to a single mother, you're committing to her and to her kids.
Bro, being a single mom is literally the hardest shit ever. Like, you cannot do any.
The struggle continues indeed. This is the lesson life is teaching mothers about poor choices.
You come into a single parent's life, make sure you're ready for it. We already have enough on our plate as it is.
I want to be rescued. I've spent the first 40 years of my life refusing to be rescued.
How are we dating these days? Single, divorced, 30-ish parents?
To be honest, dating is becoming extinct, becoming impossible to find genuine connections.
Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
I'm a hot single mom. Of course I'm gonna drop my kid off at my parents' house before our date. I'm a hot single mom. Of course I'm gonna get dressed up for our date only to fall asleep before leaving the house. I'm a hot single mom. Of course you might find food that my kid threw at me in my hair. I'm a hot single mom. Of course you'd want to upgrade me to be your hot wife. I'm a hot single mom. Of course my kid is my best friend. But you could be second in line.
It's just me and my son. He absolutely will not be going with me on any dates. No babysitter, just can't go. It's just me and my son. When there's a ring on it, then he can meet you. It's just me and my son. Of course I expect you to be a father figure. We a package duo. It's just me and my son. I'm asking about relationship history, how you act when you get mad, and why those relationships ended. We ain't doing toxicity over here. It's just me and my son. So of course I'm going to stay single until I meet a really good man. Ain't no 2, 3, 4, 5 baby daddies over here. Only took one for me to learn my lesson.
Let's talk dating as a single mom. I get this question all the time. Tips, advice, your experience. Are you seeing anyone? How's that going? And I would love to be able to give advice and tips on how that's going, but it's not going. Because as a single mom, our standards about fucking triple prior to. I already had high standards, and then now you bring my daughter into the thing, and like no one's good enough, right? On top of standards, time. As a single mom, we have little to no me time. So if I'm going to invest the small amount of me time I have into someone else, and you fucking waste it, done. And on top of men not being shit, they don't fucking know how to communicate. My 2-year-old toddler has the capability to tell me what she does or does not want, does or does not like, and how she's feeling. But some way, grown-ass men are not able to use their big boy words to communicate. Weird. Moral of the story is I am not your girl if you want advice. I can tell you what not to do. I can tell you the men not to go for, but that's basically all I've learned over the last couple years. So hopefully you have better luck than I.
This is pure insanity. She's out here making you jump through hoops and bend over backward to win her over, while the guy who knocked her up didn't have to do any of that. Like, where were these high standards when she gave up her body? Shouldn't those have been in place before she handed over something as important as her womb before she even thought about a ring? Here are the comments. She said it don't bother dating them, put yourself first. You gave another dude the most prized possession, a kid, without all these standards, and you're going to make the next guy work even harder. Listen, you single mums need to stay out the dating pool with your baggage and problems, please.
With the millions of moms entering the hot mom era, I want to make sure we're on the same page that this has nothing to do with how we look. This is about how we know we are inherently worthy and valuable without anybody else telling us that. This is about how we can set a clear and clean boundary with anyone in our life. This is about knowing exactly what we want and need and making it happen without any fucking guilt. The hot mom era is hot because we're confident, aligned, and embodied. And that equals physical hotness. You know what I'm saying?
What is like dating as a single mom part 2? So yeah, like I said, a lot of men jump into this with the idea that like I'm looking for someone to play daddy. I personally am not. My child has a father and he does his thing. She doesn't need a second father. No, I'm good off of that. What I personally am looking for is a partnership. And a lot of men get that confused. I think some men are intimidated by single moms because like most of the time you have your shit together. Some of us don't. But most of us do. You're very mature, like you have like, I'm very much about like, I take care of my kid by myself. Like I don't have a lot of family help, none of that. So like full-blown adult taking care of a kid. You can't just hit me up for a sneaky link. You can't just invite me out on a date tomorrow, asking me today. Like I need a plan, like I need structure because I have a kid that needs a babysitter. I personally don't introduce the fact that I have a child to everybody either. Everybody needs to know that. That's my business. That's not your business. And if we're just dating casually, like, and especially if I don't see this going beyond just like 1 or 2 dates, like that's a waste of time, not doing it, like for part 3.
Exactly. Let's be real here. Throwing around the word intimidation is just a convenient excuse. Men aren't intimidated by single mothers, they're wary of the situation. It's not about being scared, it's about weighing the reality of what they're stepping into. When a guy dates a single mom, it's not just about her, it's about her and her child. Whether she says it out loud or not, there's this underlying expectation that at some point, he's going to take on a father figure role. Even if the biological dad is still in the picture, the new guy is expected to contribute, emotionally and financially. And let's not kid ourselves, this isn't some casual, low-stakes deal. It's a major responsibility that a man has to consider very carefully. It's not fear, it's logic. A man's not just signing up for a relationship, he's stepping into a whole new dynamic that comes with a lot of potential baggage. So yeah, any guy with his head on straight is going to take a moment to evaluate whether he's ready to invest his time, energy, and resources into a situation he didn't create.
This guy commented and said that my dating standards are too high for someone that's a single mother. I have high standards because I'm a single mother. I cannot afford to let somebody play in my face. And who told you that being a single mother disqualifies you from actually having standards and having to settle? I don't know who misled you, but the moment that I became a single mother was the moment I knew I cannot settle. I must always lead by example.
Exactly. The notion that a millionaire is out here actively searching for a woman with kids is laughable. Sure, anything's possible, but let's keep it real, that's a long shot. Millionaires have options, plenty of them. And guess what? A single mother, as amazing as she might be, is not at the top of their list when they have the pick of the litter. Look, no one's saying single mothers can't have standards, they absolutely should, but let's be honest. Where were those standards when they were chasing after the chads who weren't about commitment, but just looking for a quick smash? It's not about judging, it's about accountability. You can't throw yourself into reckless situations with men who don't care about you, and then turn around and expect another guy to come in and clean up the mess. Here are the comments. Don't worry, keep your high standards and you will stay a single mother. There's nothing wrong with having standards, but a man wished that women would have that beforehand. Should have had them standards before and you would not be single.
3 reasons why you should never date a single dad. He already has kids, so you get the rare situation where you get to see what he's like as a dad. I sure hope you don't want kids, because after seeing that, you might want your own. He has the potential to change your mind. He's taking care of a kid or kids, taking care of you. Easy peasy. 3, a lot of women complain when a man doesn't know how to do things around the house. Well, single dads already know how to do all that stuff. So if you need help, he probably knows exactly how to do it the way that you like it already. So you won't have as much to complain about, unfortunately.
I cut off a guy that was perfect in every other way except for the fact that he had kids. I'm actually kind of sad about this one. The crazy part is we went on a date with each other probably like 3 years ago, and at that time he did not have any. I don't even remember why it didn't work out necessarily. And I was just kind of like hanging out with him again just to kind of see where it went. We went on a couple dates, but I started to feel myself really like him, and I was like, I know this isn't going to work. So I like didn't want to waste his time or my time. Because it's like, I simply cannot get over certain things that come with dating people with kids. I don't have any kids. I could go and move anywhere at any time. I can be spontaneous and take a trip. I can be spontaneous with my money and not have to worry as much because I'm not a parent. Being serious with somebody or committing to somebody with children, you take on certain sacrifices that they take on. And I'm just not prepared to do that at all. I don't want to be reminded of somebody's ex all the time because they're always going to be in the picture. I don't want to be with somebody that already shared certain experiences with somebody else that I wanted to experience for the first time with them. That's just how I feel.
Exactly. That double standard is so frustrating. It's like women can have all the preferences in the world. He has to be tall, make 6 figures, have a six-pack, and that's perfectly fine, right? Nobody questions it. But the moment a man says, hey, I don't want to date a single mum, all hell breaks loose. Suddenly he's insecure, misogynistic, or even labeled judgmental. Why is it that men can't have preferences without being attacked? It's wild that when women state their standards, it's seen as empowering and knowing their worth. But when men do the same, especially when it involves not wanting to take on the extra responsibilities that come with dating a single mother, they're dragged through the mud. It's not about being harsh or cruel, it's about what works for them. Just like women are entitled to choose what works for them.
Okay, I'm ready to find the love of my life. Let's do this. Okay, great. Let's start by leaving the house. No.
Let's talk about ghosting. Ghosting is probably one of the things you can do to a person. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is the ghosted, so the person that was ghosted, they cling on for dear life. Like, I've been ghosted and it's fucked with me. Like, fucked with me. And I was asking why, I wanted reasoning, I was constantly in my head trying to rationalize, I became fucking delusional, being like, they're just too afraid of their feelings, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you've ghosted someone, come on. We're adults. It's not that hard to say, hey, I'm just not into you like that. Sorry. It saves so much time and so much hurt if you just communicate how you're feeling. It could be the best thing you ever do. It also is going to make the other person feel a lot better. And yes, communicating is hard, and I get that, and I understand that people may not be as in tune with dissecting their emotions to be able to give someone, you know, a good reason. But in the same breath, like, if you're the one that's thinking of ghosting because you don't like this person, that's okay. If you don't like someone, you don't like them. But don't just cut contact and skedaddle on out of there and think that everything's going to be fine, because it does hurt the other person. Their self-worth is affected.
Ghosting has really become a problem, and it's hitting both men and women hard, making dating a total minefield. We're in a time where people are seen as disposable at the first hint of imperfection or boredom. They vanish. It's frustrating because instead of working through challenges or investing in a connection, people are quick to bail, always thinking there's something better just around the corner. This whole multiple partners, keep your options open mindset only makes things worse. It's like dating has turned into a game of who's got more on the roster, and genuine connections are just fading away. People aren't willing to put in the effort anymore because in their minds, someone better is just a swipe away. That grass is greener mentality is making ghosting so much more common because no one feels the need to stick around and see if the relationship can grow. It's just on to the next.
Dating as a single parent goes like this. Him: are you free this weekend? Me: no, I'm not free this weekend, I've got the kids. Are you free next weekend? Him: nah, I've got my kids that weekend. Me: oh, well, if we're ever going to meet up, it's going to have to be in a wacky warehouse, dump the kids in there and we'll get drunk. Cheers.
I'm gonna need you girls with kids to realize that you ain't got that many options. You lucky we even.
Last week, my daughter came to ask me what she could do to be less high maintenance. And I'm going to tell you guys, in case anybody needs this reminder, of what I told her. A man that makes this type of video or tells you that you're too much or you're too high maintenance is doing that because they want to give you less than the bare minimum. So since forever, men have put themselves on a pedestal. They made sure that we knew that they were the prize. So they would reduce our worth, reduce our value, and we were only worthy and valuable if we gave them children, if we were good housewives, if we did anything to serve them. And now that the patriarchy is being dismantled and women are finally stepping into that power and finally knowing that we are worthy and valuable just for being alive, it is making some men very uncomfortable. And those are the men who will tell you to reduce your value to please them. These are the type of men that instead of going internally and trying to be better humans, they will go externally and try to control women. I was one of those women that lost my value and lost my voice because I believed men when they told me to be less. And it took me years of healing to undo all that brainwashing. So this is a reminder to women of all ages. If a man is telling you that you are too much or you're too high maintenance, just because they don't see your worth doesn't mean that you don't have any. You are worthy, valuable, and lovable because you exist.
No, madam, it's not about telling you to be less, it's about being reasonable and logical. A woman without a child is naturally going to be more valuable in the dating market because she hasn't given up her womb to another man. It's not a knock on single mothers, it's simply reality. Men are wired to think about legacy, resources, and responsibility, so yes, they're going to take that into consideration. Now, let's talk about this whole high maintenance thing. By a woman's definition, it means requiring a lot of attention, emotional investment, or excessive financial support. All of that sounds draining. Who wants to sign up for that? Why should it be a man's job to constantly regulate your emotions or fund your lifestyle? Men aren't looking to be someone's emotional babysitter or walking a TM. It's not sustainable, and honestly, most men just want peace. They're looking for a partner who brings calm, not someone who drains their energy and bank account with endless demands. At the end of the day, men crave balance and support just as much as women do. Relationships thrive when both partners contribute, not when one is constantly pouring in while the other just takes.
You know? You know, honestly, you're not that ugly. Thank you. The only issue is society. Like, why is it so disgusting or gross to date somebody like you? It's not. You know what? Screw it. I don't care if my friends make fun of me forever. Let's do it. Let's go on a date. Tomorrow at 6. That's perfect. I'll see you then. I'm excited.
Can someone explain to me why so many women get pissed about the dudes in their DMs even though they're posting half-naked pictures on the internet? Y'all will be practically naked with your butt cheeks out, your breasts out, full face of makeup,
filters. You'll edit your photos so you look slimmer with a fat ass and bigger boobs. You'll edit your photos to not have cellulite. You'll do all of this stuff and post it on the internet, basically catcalling men, but then get mad at the dudes that are in your DM. And I can almost guarantee you that the majority of you, if y'all went missing, nobody would find you because you don't look like the person in the photos. Take off all of the makeup, take off all of the filters, show your natural self, and see how many dudes are in your DMs then. Some of y'all want attention so bad, and it shows. But not only that, you will do all of this for one guy to hit you up. The one guy that you're trying to get his attention, rather than just being classy and initiating conversation with the guy that you actually want. You'll be lustful for a bunch of dirty dudes in your DMs. Make that make sense. And then you consider yourself a high value woman. You cannot be mad at the dudes in your DMs if you're posting half naked pictures because you know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it, and you're doing it for attention. So it's stupid to play dumb like, oh my God, I have all of these dudes in my DMs. And let's not forget, a lot of y'all put your value in the dudes that are in your DMs, and those men aren't worth a damn. Stop catcalling men and posting half naked pictures if you don't expect them to slide in your DMs. Okay, bye.
They're upset because it's not the 6-foot-tall man sliding into their DMs, and if it were, let's be honest, they'd probably react a whole lot differently. The reality is, many of these women are posting provocative pictures not just for likes, but as bait to draw in traffic to their OnlyFans or similar platforms. It's all part of a strategy to lure simps into subscribing to their content, exploiting a market that feeds off superficiality. And here's the kicker: a lot of these women who are heavily editing their photos, layering on makeup, and using every filter in the book are often doing it out of insecurity. They're crafting an image that matches society's unrealistic standards of beauty, but in the process they're losing touch with their authentic selves. Instead of embracing their natural beauty, they rely on artificial enhancements to feel attractive and validated. It's a vicious cycle, really. This constant pursuit of perfection isn't about confidence, it's about masking insecurity. They crave external validation because deep down they don't feel like they measure up without all the filters and editing. But this delusion of needing to look a certain way to be worthy of attention or love, it only digs them deeper into a hole of superficiality and dissatisfaction. Instead of focusing on real connections or building inner confidence, they're chasing an illusion that's never going to fulfill them.